Good morning, students. Today we are going to learn about the topic business environment. Before we go to a detailed study, we need to understand the two concepts, business and environment. What is business? Any economic activity involved with production and sale of goods and services can be termed as business. Different types of business pictures are shown here for your better comprehension. You see, every business is dependent upon the society. Whatever business it is, it needs land to start a business, labor, that is human resource, capital. All such resources are availed from the society, and our finished product is also to be sold to the market in the society. This society forms the business environment. We sell to the consumers and then generate business revenue. So it is very important to understand the environment we are doing the business in to be successful in our business. To define business environment, we can say that it refers to the sum total of all individual, institutional, and other forces that lie outside the control of business enterprise but may influence its functioning and performance. This means business environment is divided under basically three categories: individual forces, institutional forces, and other forces. All these forces are beyond the control of a business but influences the functioning of a business. Let's analyze these forces one by one. We can understand individual forces better with the help of an example. Like when Apple company launched iPhone 10 with a notch, it led to a hike in sales of iPhone 10. Imitating this, Apple's competitors like Oppo and Vivo incorporated the notch in their products too. Again, Apple was the first company to introduce gold color in their phones, which led to a boom in the sales of their mobiles. Seeing this, Apple's competitors also started including gold color in their phones. So we see Apple here is an individual competitor, which had a direct effect on other competitive companies like Vivo and Oppo. Institutional forces. Institutional forces means industrial change or change in the entire industry. For example, earlier shows on TV were broadcast only on TV. It had a fixed channel, had a fixed time. For this, demand for TV sets increased. When demand increases, it leads to an increase in sales. But with the change in time and technological upgradation, we have apps now like Hotstar, Voot, Amazon Prime, Netflix, and others which are easily available in Google Play Store. People can easily download now these apps and watch their favorite shows anytime they want. This was the reason demand for TV declined. So due to the digital onslaught, there was a big change in the television industry. Sales decreased. On the other hand, demand and sales of mobiles increased. This was an industrial change. Other forces. Other forces refers to government, media, legal courts, etc. This can be understood with the help of an example. If government increases tax rate, this implies raw materials which were bought at a price will be available at a higher price, which automatically will increase the cost of production. In other words, product price will increase. It will be more expensive to buy. So we see that a hike in the tax rate by the government has a cascading effect on the business. The price at which a businessman used to sell his product now has to increase the price to sell the same product. Our next subtopic is features of business environment. Following are the features or characteristics of business environment. If totality of external forces are to be taken as a first feature, we already know from what we derive from the definition of business environment, it's the sum total of forces which are outside or external to the business, We have to remember here that internal forces do not play any role in business environment. Business environment means only and only external forces. Next is dynamic nature. Business environment is highly flexible and keep changing. It is not static or rigid. That is why it is essential to monitor and scan business environment continuously. Shift in tastes and preferences of customers, development of new technology, entry of competition in the market are few examples of dynamic nature of business environment. Let's take an example. Earlier, communication started with landline, then came cordless phones, which gave way to smartphones. So there has been frequent changes in technology. Demands of people also changed. So a business has to understand the changes and adapt to it in order to be successful. Certainty. It is very difficult to predict the changes of business environment no matter how perfect a company is, as environment is changing very fast. For example, with the entry of Reliance Jio in telecom industry, companies like Airtel, Idea, BSNL suffered huge losses. But they never could predict this downfall beforehand because of the uncertain nature of business environment. Next, we will explain the most important feature of business environment, that is specific and general forces. Business environment is divided basically under two forces, specific and general. When we speak of specific forces, they affect a business directly and individually. On the other hand, general forces affect a business indirectly and impact all forms of business. Specific forces include, first of all, investors. Investors like to invest in companies which yield good profit, that is, if they get a good return on their investment. So, depending upon the business model and the profits of the business, investors invest in a business. Customers. Like investors, customers also have a direct impact on business. We can understand this with a good example. When Samsung launched its series of high-end phones in the market, that is, its Galaxy series, sale of Samsung increased highly. But after some time, everybody knows that they had an issue with these phones of batteries getting blasted. For this reason, Samsung's customers shifted towards Apple iPhones. They started purchasing iPhones of Apple company. If base of customers change, sales will get affected. As a result, it will have a negative impact on profit. So customers have a direct impact on any company. Competitors. Now we will see how competitors affect a business. At a time when there was hardly any competition in the market, Air India, an airlines company, used to sell their tickets at a very high price. With time, as competitors like Indigo, Jet Airways, SpiceJet entered the arena, competition became fierce. As a result, Air India was forced to reduce the price of its tickets. So we see the entry of competitors had a direct impact on the functioning of the existing business. Suppliers. If raw materials are sold at a high price by the suppliers, the cost of production of our business will increase. If cost of production is high, then product price will also increase. While our competitors are selling the product at a low price, we have to keep the price high due to our suppliers. As a result, our company will have to bear the loss. So we see we have to price a product at a rate compatible to what rate our suppliers are selling us. Therefore, we can see suppliers have a direct impact on any business. General forces. Next, we will speak about general forces which impact a business indirectly and apply to all forms of business. These factors or forces are economic, political, social, technological, and legal conditions. Now let's take economic condition first. Good economic condition in a country will see profits in its business. There will be launch of new products, new services, new multinational companies will show interest in investing. All these will develop a positive economic environment. If a company wishes to launch its new share capital, its share prices will be on a rise. So therefore, a good economic condition will have a good impact on business. Under political conditions, Make in India campaign can be taken as an example. Government of India in Make in India campaign has laid out subsidies that those mobile phones manufactured in India will be less expensive as compared to those manufactured outside the country. Speaking of technological conditions, we all know that earlier internet availability was 1 GB for 1 month only. But with the entry of Reliance Jio 4G, we can now have 1 GB of internet service per day. For this reason, Hotstar, Voot, Amazon Prime and especially YouTube has become very popular because of a technological change. We will study all these general forces in detail under dimensions of business environment next. Interrelation. The fifth feature of business environment is interrelatedness. That is, all forces and factors of business environment are interrelated to each other. For example, with inclination of today's youth towards Western culture, the demand for fast food is ever increasing. Complexity. This feature of business environment tells us that it is very difficult to understand the impact of business environment on the companies. Although it is easy to scan the environment, but it is very difficult to know how these changes will influence business decisions. For example, the crisis caused by COVID-19, that is the coronavirus, had a multi-dimensional effect on industries. That's all for today's session. Thank you, students.